Good afternoon. The time here in Australia is 1:27 in the afternoon, which is Wednesday. You are talking to Wilhelmina Ford as an extension digital office in Australia, gold based in West Africa. I am the marketing consultant. I handle sales on behalf of the seller based in Bamako Mali, Conakry Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Now today the price of gold is 43,271.53 in the world market demand. Now I'm sure you've been searching for gold for many months. I'm sure you have been duped. Now today I am informing you that gold is not for CIF. Gold is not for credit. Gold is cash business. I just came back from my trip. I went to Conakry Guinea and I brought a buyer. And the buyer was really impressed. Wow, your seller Wilhelmina is real. In Conakry Guinea, my seller have 15 cars in his car park. He owned the building and he owned 7 concessions. Most of you are suspicious. The more you're suspicious, the more Wilhelmina is getting suspicious as well on you. Our full corporate offer is in front of you. People doesn't understand what is FCO. I will enumerate again and I will explain just like an elementary. FCO means full corporate offer. Our offer is 22.54 the carats. Our offer, the purity is from 94 to 95 plus. Our offer, the gold coming from Conakry Guinea, Bamako Mali, Sierra Leone gold and diamond. Our offer is not for credit. This is cash business. Our offer, if you are really paying attention to read our full corporate offer, Wilhelmina will believe that you are a buyer. Our policy, gold is cash business. This is not for credit. This is not for LC. This is not black fund. To mine, it costs money. I've been to Conakry Guinea every week. My seller send 250 bag of rice to the workers in Sigeri. Now Sigeri, it took I think to drive is 1 day, but if you fly from Conakry to Bamako Mali, it takes 2 hours. The road is very rough. So every 2 weeks or every week, my seller supply 250 bags of rice, coffee, sugar, sardines, and meat. It costs money. It's not for credit, but you, as an international joker buyer, excuse me if I say this, you're asking for CIF and bring to your country. It wouldn't work. Meaning to say, you are going to leverage. Meaning to say, you are not really a buyer, because a real buyer doesn't talk too much. Only fake buyer talk too much. Now recently, my seller went to Paris and he brought 450 kilos. We almost lost the deal. That is the reason why I sit down with my head office in Conakry Guinea. I told my big boss, buyer asking CIF, he is not a buyer. He's not. We know we don't sell 2 kilos in Conakry Guinea, the minimum of 20 kilos. Now our selling price, less 8%. Why 8%? You are buying a raw material which is unrefined. The refined gold is 43,271.53. That is 99.99. Gold has many uses. Either you make into gold coins. I mentioned that several times. Read on this full corporate offer in front of you, and also the manifest. I want you to pay attention. I don't want you to rush, because this is not a rush business. Pay attention carefully on this video and read it. When you're ready, you come back and send me a letter of intent to buy. Attention to Wilhelmina Ford. I will be the one to know which seller I'm going to put you, either in Conakry Guinea, Bamako Mali, or Sierra Leone on diamond. Now let's talk about how are you able to secure. Of course, you have to send a letter of intent to buy. Attention to Wilhelmina. Then when you send me a letter of intent to buy on your company letterhead stating how many quantity you are looking for, what carat you are looking for, which destination the gold will be delivered, and which refinery as a consignee. That is very, very important. We don't need to make a mistake anymore. So now when you send to Wilhelmina would know which seller I'm going to put you. Either in Bamako Mali, the third largest gold producer in West Africa, or Conakry Guinea, the land of plenty. Now Conakry Guinea has huge natural resources. Main source of bauxite. Chinese are everywhere in Conakry Guinea. When I was there 1 week ago, I arrived last Thursday. Today is Wednesday. I brought the buyer, and the buyer was really happy. Conakry Guinea, source of bauxite. Bauxite can make into different uses, like steel bars, making building construction, and gold, diamond, emerald, and so forth. But you are a small trader. You are looking for gold, right? So therefore you need to introduce yourself. I know you've been floating around from broker to broker asking my sellers information. I will provide you the information of the seller when you send a letter of intent to buy attention to Wilhelmina, because I'm the one who will scrutinize you before we send you a letter of acknowledgement addressed to you as the buyer. Dear Mr. Buyer, thank you for inquiring on behalf of your company. If you're a buyer's mandate, you state that, dear Wilhelmina, I am acting on behalf of the buyer. You need to introduce yourself. Your buyer is paying your work, so we don't give double commission. We remove that. That is the reason why I am on live video all the time. I'm on YouTube, I am on Facebook, because I need to explain thoroughly so that you will not be misled. Now, last night there was a lady. He sent his representative in Ghana. His representative went to Kumasi, to Abuasi, and to Torquay. He didn't get gold. And I told the lady that Abuasi, Torquay, 5 hours drive from Accra. Accra is the city. So the lady, he spent money to send his representative. He didn't get gold. Now today, Wilhelmina will be the one to take you to Conakry Guinea. Wilhelmina will be the one to take you to Bamako Mali if you want gold, and if you want diamond, Wilhelmina will take you to Sierra Leone. However, Wilhelmina's extra service is not for free. I am charging you as the buyer to take you in advance. I am traveling the day before you arrive, so that I would plan, so that I will sit down the seller that you are coming purposely to buy what you are looking for. Now, before we're gonna invite you, you send a letter of intent attention to Wilhelmina stating that gold is not for credit. This is F.O.B. So when you send a letter of intent, we will respond to you. Then we will require you to show me your bank statement that you have the money to pay what you are buying, and your passport copy. Then we will send you a letter of invitation, a landing visa as a company guest. Does that make sense? Last night I have a conference for people. They were asking about my seller's mining license. They are asking about my seller's business license. We will provide if you are a buyer. We will provide if you know how to introduce yourself. 4 of you, to me, immediately I detect you are a window shopper. We no longer doing that. That is why I put everything, our full corporate offer. That is the full corporate offer of the seller. I'm the one who introduced this so that you will not be burned out. There are so many buyers burn out because you are cutting corner. We don't cut corner because this is a very dangerous business. So Wilhelmina is charging her extra service. If you cannot afford to pay my extra service, meaning to say you cannot afford to pay the gold, you are buying $500,000, you must remember. You are buying $1 million, you must remember. So let's talk about how much my extra service. If you cannot afford to pay my extra service, to me, you are not a buyer. You are not. Few weeks ago, I had a buyer from Malaysia. He was supposed to go to Ghana. And when he saw me, immediately, he has no question. He sent his bank statement and his passport. He arrived in Conakry Guinea. I arrived the day before he arrived. And he was surprised. Wow, this is real. Wow. Wow. He said, wow. He met my big boss. I work for the company. I am based in Australia as an extension office. Being an extension office, yes, I do charge my extra service to guide you. If you cannot afford, I will arrange the landing visa. But if there is any issue, don't come back to Wilhelmina. Why? Even though they are my seller, African seller have a bad habit. They will not show up on time. They will not show up. Appointment 9 o'clock, they will show up 11, 12 o'clock. If you make a phone calls, they would not pick up your call. So you need Wilhelmina in order to pressure the seller that he has to be on time. You are a foreigner and Wilhelmina is a foreigner. So that is the reason why I don't deal with so many brokers. I don't. I prefer to deal direct to the buyer. The buyer can make a decision, not a broker. Broker just collecting information, fine. Facebook is an advertising site. YouTube is also an advertising site. Now today we are now on the global communication, so therefore it is easy for you to find a supply. There's a saying, supply and demand determine the price. Does that make sense? 98% in Africa, gold coming from Africa. 50% diamond coming from Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, Mali, Conakry Guinea, Sierra Leone, and so forth. Now, the price of gold today is 43,271.53. Remember last year, December, I warned you guys that bank now secure now while you can afford to purchase. The price of gold last December was 39, then increased to 40, then 41, then 42. Today is 43,271.53. Now you're asking for cheap price. I'm sorry, we don't sell cheap. Gold has a value. Gold is the world asset. Gold has many uses. Tell me on your letter of intent to buy, what are you intend to use? It is very simple. It is very simple if you are a buyer. It would be very difficult for you if you are not a buyer, because we are not dealing with credit. Gold and diamond is cash business. In Africa, cash, cash, cash. I went to Conakry Guinea with my buyer. Every time we dine, it's cash. We take a taxi, it's cash. Yeah? We go to different 5-star hotel to dine, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's cash. And then you are asking for no upfront fee. To me, you are not a buyer. You are just a fake buyer wasting time online, collecting information. There was a buyer from, I think from Florida or New York. He's a Vietnamese. He's been in Nairobi and he was being duped. And he saw me and he demanded to send me a picture of gold on his name. And I told him we no longer doing that. All the pictures on my virtual page on Facebook are original. The reason why we don't send the pictures and video on your name, because you are going to solicit a buyer. If you cannot follow our procedure, to me you are not a buyer. It is very simple to follow if you're a real buyer. There was a buyer from Dubai last week, and I think he was following my YouTube and Facebook. I think I mentioned that on my previous video. He's a real buyer, and he's also hesitant. Being unhesitant, he was dealing with a white guy from South Africa. If you go to my page, there was a white guy, okay, in the airport, because I sent my buyer outgoing with the gold inside the armor car. I was in export area, and while I was on export area, there was 4 buyers arrive as well. Okay? And I introduced myself. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Wilhelmina Ford from Australia. That white guy said, I know you, Wilhelmina. I said, where? I followed you on YouTube and you are really telling the truth. We are real, isn't it? I said, yes, I know. So he asked me to have a picture with him so that he can send it to his client in Dubai. So he sent it to his client. The following day, the client flew to Conakry Guinea because of me. Can you imagine that? And you, buyers, are hesitant to believe. Well, don't believe it if you are not really a buyer. We are not here to chase you. We are here to tell the world that we have the supply. Supply and demand determine the price. Now, going back to the price. Our selling price today is 8% per kilo. Now, the selling price is 39,000 per kilo. So our minimum order is 20 kilos. Why 20 kilos? In Conakry Guinea, the policy is very strict, but spot on the services. Now, you are not paying taxes here. You're not. We're not asking you tax to upfront because gold is not upfront. Gold is cash. Now, our selling price is 39,000 per kilo. On 20 kilos, you have a profit of 69,234. Per kilo, your profit is 3,461.72. Now, set aside 5 kilos for your expenses. Because I'm charging you my extra service. Airfare, hotel accommodation is spending money, and food. So that 5 kilos, which is 16,000 plus, set aside for the expenses. The 15 kilos is your profit. Okay. I will give you the figures. Alright. So you profit on 3,461.72 times 5 kilo. That is now expenses to travel. Set aside the 5 kilos for expenses. Now, on the 15 kilos, 15 times 3,461.72. This is your profit. Alright. So, if you are buying 5 kilos, there is no profit. So, I encourage you to buy 20 kilos. What's the point to get the 5 kilos if you travel and at the end of the day, you don't get the profit? So in the first trial, you don't get the profit. But on the second shipment, third and fourth shipment, yes, you will get the profit. Now, if you get the profit on 20 kilos, 20 times 3,461.72, okay, 3,461.72 times 20 kilos, this is your profit. Plus, minus Wilhelmina's expenses that you are going to pay Wilhelmina's travel cost in order for you to guide in Africa. Now, you multiply that 12 months contract. This is your profit in 12 months contract. You put this on your term deposit in the bank of 3.5% times 3.5%. This is your interest, is 2,900 or 29, yeah, 2,907 a year. Which one you like? To invest in gold, buying gold, and you get the handsome profit. So does that make sense now? So those people asking mining license, we don't give you mining license unless Wilhelmina knows who you are. I will not release my seller's information until you introduce yourself. You send a letter of intent to buy addressed to Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina is the seller's mandate. So, you got my point now? Yeah, last night there were 4 of the buyer. I rejected it. And I told them, follow the procedure, listen to the video, then you come back. And I will give you again the link of my Facebook. Take time to read, take time to digest. I've given you like elementary information I'm not supposed to give you. I feel sorry for you because you have been duped. Nairobi, Ghana is notorious. I know Ghana. I've been to Ghana. I fired all of my sellers in Ghana. I fired them. I dropped them. I discontinue my handling of marketing in Ghana. If you're asking me, well, Amina, I want to buy gold in Ghana, I wish you good luck. Why I didn't like Ghana? Last year, there was an American guy. He transferred his money to a refinery of 19,250,000 at Standard Chartered Bank. So my 5 sellers signed a contract, and there was a representative of the buyer. I monitored the movement, and my 5 sellers were devious. It says on the contract that the seller would not contact the refinery until he would introduce. It says on the contract. What happened to this devious seller? He go behind, he went to the refinery, and the refinery denied the seller because the seller didn't introduce himself. So what happened? I get angry, I fired them all. And I told them, you are devious. It says on the contract, you sign on the contract that wait until the buyer will inform you with letter, and then he would inform the refinery to entertain you, to bring the gold together with the representative on the ground. What happened? There was a huge situation. So I didn't like it. And I called the refinery as well. The refinery denied as well. So if you are a buyer, do not send money to any refinery in Ghana. You will never get gold. A minute that you transfer money to any refinery, the seller will back out. Because that the refinery, they will use your money to buy gold in the village and resell it to his own customer, and you will wait for 12 months. Believe me. In Ghana, there are 15 refineries. I'm going to enumerate. Gold Coast is the biggest refinery. They import gold from Mali. They import gold from Sierra Leone. They import gold from Conakry Guinea. Because Ghana cannot supply. Short supply. FMMC, AA Mineral, Asankas, ER Logistic, Bar Purity, Italtec, WRL, Impix, Sahara, 888, okay, Geological, and ASAP Basap. So why these refineries are there? Tell me. Meaning to say, they are there to make money. They are there to open, and then they are there to buy gold to sell it to their own customer, which is the bank. Now come to Conakry Guinea, come to Bamako Mali. I can guarantee you, I can assure you, you will get gold. Now, in Bamako Mali and Conakry Guinea, very simple if you are a buyer. Very, very simple. I will arrive the day before you arrive. And you're gonna say, well, Amina, I cannot afford to pay your extra service. It is peanuts. It is very peanuts. Why? To cover my expenses to be with you. To cover my airfare from Australia to Africa. To be with you. So that you will not be frustrated. You can afford to lose 135,000 with your broker. You can afford to lose 460 with 6 brokers. You pay your 6 brokers to travel. You pay your broker over $700,000. What happened? You didn't get gold. To me, extra service is peanuts. You are buying $500,000. You are buying $1 million, and you cannot afford my extra service. I will arrange your landing visa. If you don't like my extra service, fine. But there's a big question mark. If there is an issue, do not come back to Wilhelmina, because I am very far. When I was in Conakry Guinea, there was a little bit of issue, but the issue has been resolved. My seller is real, but they have a bad habit. Okay, there was one simple mistake of the documentation. I was not very happy. So we extended the customer, and the seller paid the extension of his ticket, the seller paid the extension of his stay. If I wasn't there, the customer would complain. But I was there on the ground. Everything was sorted out. So the gold from Central Bank brought it in the airport with the armor car. You cannot carry the gold. So they will hand over to you if you hand carry the gold to custom, because there is an export documentation. The custom will see it, whether the gold is not illegally mined, whether you pay the gold cash. So there is a certain regulation in every country. So do not cut corner. Do not. So when I was in the airport, my buyer was extremely happy. So that is the reason why I'm sharing you the good news. The bad news is the seller, every seller in Africa have a bad habit. They will not show up on time. So you need to be patient. Appointment 9 o'clock. They will not show up 9 o'clock. They will show up 11 or 12 o'clock. And when you call them, they will not pick up the phone. So if I am with you, I would say, hey, I am here with the buyer, and I fly 18 hours from Australia to Africa. You need to do the proper thing, because African sellers are lazy. They have the gold, but their habits are very bad. Not like in Australia, when appointment is 8 o'clock, exact 8 o'clock. When appointment is 10 o'clock, exact 10 o'clock. African, they are not following the appointment. So you really need Wilhelmina so that you will not be disappointed or frustrated. I will arrive the day before you arrive. Does that make sense? You spend money in order to get the profit. If you cannot afford to spend money, to me, you're not really a buyer. You're not. You're just time waster. Thank you very much and have a pleasant good afternoon. Book now, listen to this video, read below, and digest it properly. Do not come to Wilhelmina that you are not understand the procedure. Very simple. If you went to school, I'm sure you will digest and I'm sure you will comprehend. I went to school, just I explained this full corporate offer just like elementary. I should not supposed to give you this information worth $1 million. I've given you for free already. I know you've been searching cut and paste. We don't do that anymore. I am here to explain in front of you. I am here to do business. We are here to do business to a real end buyer. We are not here to do business with a time waster. Yeah? So I hope you understand. After you read the full corporate offer, come on Skype. When you come on Skype, meaning to say you are ready to send your letter of intent to buy. You are ready to show me your proof of fund bank statement. That's all. That you have a value of $750,000 or you have a value of $1 million in your bank account. That's all you need to convince us. Then we will send you a letter of response with the full address of the seller. Why? Wilhelmina will validate you first. Wilhelmina will know which seller I'm going to put you, because we have an existing customer and you are a new customer. Does that make sense? I hope you understand my simple explanation. I hope you understand my elementary explanation. So I hope you will not be offended. Wilhelmina is very straightforward, and I don't want to cut corner. There was a foreigner in Conakry Guinea. He secured 50 grams. I think I mentioned that on my previous video. When he arrived in the airport, you know, custom has a detector, and it alarms, because that is precious, and that is the property of the country. So what happened? He was being questioned by custom, and his luggage was open. He was being arrested because that 50 gram has no paperwork. He was accused as a thief. So don't do that. I am giving you a warning. Never dare to do that. you're gonna be kalobos in a foreign country. You will. So don't do that. It's a matter of 50 gram, my gosh. Why not just pay and tell the seller, okay, I need this paperwork because I don't want to be arrested when I get out. That foreigner was in the news. He was been arrested. He was been fined. A very simple mistake. So I hope you will not do it, because you are stealing the government property. Now in Conakry, Guinea is really very simple, and also in Bamako, Mali. Bamako, Mali, there are two refineries, DGM and KMR. Most of the seller, 100%, would not deal with KMR. KMR is a private refinery. They are from Italy. They opened the refinery because the government of Italy are funding the KMR. So they are also buying and also refining the gold to make into 99.99 to send it to Europe, because their investors are the bank. So they are also buying. So the KMR are creating employment locally as well. Now my seller would not deal KMR unless the gold will be assigned to DGM, which is government refinery. I will give you the link of the refinery of DGM so that you will go and view it before you make a decision to travel with me. Now my seller's instruction is like this. We will deal the buyer provided the gold has to be assayed first at DGM, the buyer pay cash, and then the buyer can arrange the armor car to pick up DGM refinery, bring it to KMR, because KMR would not receive the gold without paperwork coming from the seller. Very, very simple. If you are a real buyer, the gold will not come to you. You have to come to the office, inspect first, look at it, touch it, then when you're happy, you make your holding deposit. It's not upfront, holding deposit before the gold will bring it to the refinery to taste, and you will be given an assay report. Then when you're given an assay report, then you start your holding deposit. Okay, then the balance, you start to transfer payment from your bank to the seller's bank. Now, when you transfer your payment, you need to inform your bank before you travel that you are going to buy the valued goods to Africa because of money laundering and gold laundering. So it would take 5 working days. Why? From your end to correspondence bank to the central bank, then the central bank to the headquarters of the local branch, then the headquarters to the seller's branch. Does that make sense? In Conakry, exactly the same. Exactly the same. In Conakry, the central bank will only do the transaction Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, close exclusively for the big buyer, very powerful. Every week, Conakry take gold 5 tons every week, delivered to their existing customer, Qatar, Middle East, and Dubai. So central bank would not do the processing of papers on Tuesday for a small trader, because they are very busy processing papers, tons of gold. Then the central bank will deliver the gold to the airport, to the custom area, to leave the country and deliver it in Qatar and in Middle East. Very simple. If you're really watching this video, it is very, very simple if you have the cash. It would not be very simple if you don't have cash. Asking for CIF, asking for block fund, it wouldn't work. Why are you gonna block the fund? Gold is cash versus your paper money. Don't you know today the world is panicking at the moment? Why? The price of gold is 43 to 171.52. So there is uncertainty. So the inflation, every country has an inflation. When the commodity of the is high, meaning to say the gold is scarce. Now, how are you able to afford to pay 39,000 per kilo? You're gonna say, "Oh, I don't have a profit." No, you will get the profit. I already explained it to you. On the 20 kilos, you get the profit of 69 23 minus the expenses, you still have a profit of $50,000. And you increase that on 50 kilos, 100 kilos, 200 kilos, the more you get the profit. I explained that a few minutes ago. You watch this video properly. Don't rush. Watch this video thoroughly and repeat and repeat and repeat until it registered into the back of your head. Now, I am going to close now. Before I'm going to say goodbye, read the full corporate offer in front of you. And if you want the diamond, the manifest is in front of you. Scroll down. It would take an hour for you to watch this video. This is for your own benefit. Cutting corner, you are waiting for disaster. You were being duped before, so don't let it happen anymore. I am here to guide you. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant good afternoon.